Hey, it's Brandon Gustafson with BrandonGustafson.com. Excited to have you here again for another live coaching session. Our topic today is going to be how and why to update your resume for a specific job. Before we jump into that, though, I want to remind you that this is a live session. If you're here, make sure you like that bell, subscribe and ring the bell, like the video, subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified every time that we go live on this channel. And get over to BrandonGustafson.com/5P so that you can get access to the 5 Ps to effective personal development. Because at BrandonGustafson.com, we are here to help you transform your life your way. Now let's get into the topic. We are here to talk to you about how and why you want to update your resume for a specific job. And it's something actually I'm kind of going through right now. But before I really dive into my personal experience, I wanted to kind of share an analogy that's going to kind of help you through the process of why you would want to do this. And the thing that I wanted to share with you is, as I was thinking about this and prepping for the video and the coaching session, was to talk about how athletes adjust their training schedule based off of what they are trying to do. Let's use basketball as an example. So if I'm a coach and I'm getting ready to start and kind of coach my team through a process, what I need to do is look at the competition and see what they need. And I might need to adjust my philosophy and my strategy on how I'm going to be running my offense based off of that. Does a pick and roll work really well against this team for some reason? As a motion offense, do I want to have 4 out and 1 in so that I have a lot of people on the outside on the perimeter? Do I want to have that? From a defensive perspective, what's going to work well? Do I want to be running a zone because they like to shoot outside, or do I want to do a man and do a lot of switching? What's going to be the thing that I want to do? And we can relate that to jobs on why you want to adjust your resume. And hear me out on this. So you are the coach in that analogy. You're the one that needs to adjust and look at the kind of landscape and see what you need to do to make some adjustments to what you're doing there from that standpoint, and how you need to adjust your personal strategy on this. And the other team is not the job. It's not them. That's not what you're trying to do. The game itself is kind of the job, and winning is what you're trying to do. The other competition is the other people. And so you want to be making sure that you are adjusting yourself so that you are in a better spot to get in front of that hiring manager to help you out. Now, let me talk a little bit about my personal circumstance. I have been working in data now for over a decade, and I love data. I love working with numbers, love visualizing it, love what you can do with data. I'm super passionate about data. But what I found is I have a skill set in the realm of strategy and planning and getting in and helping people research and document processes and having a picture of the big vision and doing that. And it's something that I'm actually more passionate about that than data. And I know there's a component with the strategy and planning that is data, but what I want to do is shift my career over and be in much more strategic planning type positions. So I'm working on making that adjustment now. And as a result, I need to adjust my resume because as a person with over a decade of experience working in data and data analytics, I now need to adjust what I'm putting on my resume to reflect the information or the experiences that I've had that are more in line with the positions that I want in strategy and planning. Now, something that I have that skill set and I have the experience as well. We're going to get into that here in a little bit on how you can reflect that in your resume, but it's something that I do need to make adjustments on my resume so that it is reflective of that work that I can do. So let's dive into the why you would want to update your resume for a specific job. The first thing that I want to get into is you want to have relevant information on there. If I'm trying to apply for a job that is strategy related and I'm talking about this cool Tableau dashboard that I created, or I'm talking about diving into some SQL or parsing out some data in an Access database or doing VLOOKUPs on Excel, not going to be quite as impressive to that person that is hiring me for the strategy position. So I need to make sure that I have relevant information in that resume. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any progress on that job application. Next is catching that eye of that hiring manager. And it's kind of going along those lines, but you really want to show how you are a good fit, and you also want to show your passion for the things that you're applying for. So I know that I really enjoy working for nonprofits, and I work in healthcare. I know that patient experience is something that is really important to me, and so I want to express that through my resume, and I want to share that with somebody because that's the type of position that I'm looking for. And so in that vein, if I want to be in a patient-centered healthcare place that's working on getting in front of people and improving that patient experience, I probably don't want to be working for a construction company. So I want to make sure that I'm tailoring everything that I do in my resume to really pop to that hiring manager and have them see what experience I have and how I might be a good fit for them with the position that they're hiring for. And the next why reason is to just show your enthusiasm for that job. And you can do this through an objective or a summary statement on your resume or a cover letter. I don't know that it matters where you do this at. I personally like a cover letter, and I'll get into why here in a little bit. But where you're doing that, I don't think it matters. What is important is that you're showing your enthusiasm for that. Like I explained before, I'm super passionate about working for nonprofit mission-driven organizations that are focused on improving the patient experience in healthcare. Like that's pretty clear on what I want to do in my job and what I'm trying to look for. And I want to do this through building out strategy and planning and helping people make those decisions so that we can have that impact on the health system. That's what I want to do. So I want to put that on there. So that's why you should be doing that, because when you do those things, you're going to be more likely to get in front of that hiring manager and be able to be in front of them so that you have more of an opportunity to really make a difference and make an impact and make an impression on them through explaining yourself and what you're passionate about. Now let's get into the how of how you're going to actually do this. What changes do you need to make so that you can update your resume, your cover letter, your overall application, and make yourself a much better candidate, on paper at least, for these types of positions. So the first one is going to be reading the job description and highlighting some key areas that are going to be important. Something to note when you are looking at job descriptions is they are telling you the things that are important to their organization and important to the hiring manager in the position that they're looking for. And that's what you really need to see. So what I really like to do is take my resume and that job description, kind of hold them up against each other, not necessarily on paper, I could do this digitally, and see what changes do I need to make to my resume to reflect what's in that job description. What experiences and skills are they looking for in the job description? How can I update that to my resume? And what am I going to do to put that in there? That's going to really make me pop in front of that hiring manager when they look at me and the other people that are looking at my resume, because they're going to see, oh yeah, I can see that. That's a really good tie out. We can definitely interview this person. And the next one is kind of in that line is matching keywords. So when you have that job description up and your resume, there's going to be keywords here. Again, they are telling you what they want, what's important to them as an organization and to the hiring manager. They're going to tell you that in the keywords, and you want to put that onto your resume. Now, the reason why I'm going to lift the curtain back a little bit, I was working at a previous company, working with our HR team on hiring new candidates for an internship that I was in charge of. And through that process, I was working with them, and she was kind of showing me the back end of our HR system and how they process applications. And essentially what happens with these larger companies, smaller companies might be different. You know, if they're a small company using Indeed, not like a premium version, they're probably just getting the resume and looking at it. But larger companies, or even ones that use like a premium version of Indeed, are going to have some kind of an analysis that comes into from the application, and they're taking that and they're highlighting it and doing like hot spots on your resume, and they give you a score, like a 0 to 100 score, to kind of gauge how good of a fit you are based off of the skills and things that you are expressing on your resume. And the higher the score you are, the more likely that HR rep is to pass your resume along to the along to the hiring manager. And the best way for you to kind of hit that high score there is to take that job description and your resume and make sure that you're hitting a lot of those keywords. Because when you do that, it's going to flash. You're going to have a really hot resume on their hot spotting software, and it's going to give you a higher score, and then they're going to pass that along to the hiring manager, which is going to allow you to get in front of them, and then you can really start to express yourself and show who you are and the experiences that you have and why you're a good fit for them, because you're there in front of them in person. So that's one of the first things that you want to do so you can get your resume past that initial stage, and it's something that I've actually been able to figure out pretty well for myself, and I think it's something you can learn very easily. If you're interested in learning more about that, make sure you comment down below, especially if you're here live, and we can kind of get into some of those comments here and kind of help you out through the process. The next one is going to be customizing your summary or your objective. Now, I mentioned I don't use a summary or objective on my resume anymore. I used to. But if you have one, you want to customize that. You want to be really specific to the job that you're wanting and express that passion and express why you're a good fit and the experiences that you have. You need to do this succinctly. It probably shouldn't be more than like 5 lines, not sentences, 5 lines on your resume. It needs to be kind of short and sweet, but you want to put that on there because and make sure it's adjusted to the specific jobs that you have, matching those keywords in the job description so that it, one, flags you in the system for them to be a good candidate, gives you that high score, and also is expressing why you're a good fit to that hiring manager, which is going to make you more of an attractive candidate for them. Next is going to be matching your skills and your experience. So let me go back to the kind of story that I was telling you about before, where I have a lot of experience in data analytics, and I also want to shift over to these strategy roles. Now, as a data person, I actually have always been able to carve out these strategy roles for myself and kind of planning and doing those types of things. Now, if I'm looking to get hired for these strategy types of positions, I need to adjust my resume so I'm not highlighting that work that I did in Tableau, and I'm not highlighting the databases that I created and the processes that I did to kind of automate some of that data processing. That's not going to be as important. What I do want to do though, and what I want to highlight, is the time that I spent working with our IT department to develop and test a new CRM. And the process I went through there, the time that I was the assistant director on a contract where we were going through and helping out with that, the time where I was able to secure funding for a grant for my assisted living facilities, $1.2 million to help us digitize our processes and also do renovations on the house to make it much more patient focused and patient centered to improve that patient experience. Something, again, that I'm really passionate about. Those are the types of things I want to be putting on. It's okay to still talk about some of that data stuff. It's a real experience that I have, and some of it might be relevant, but what I want to focus on is the bigger picture of the strategy pieces that I've been able to do throughout my career. I want to match that skill set that I'm trying to get hired for with the experience that I have, and I need to adjust my resume to reflect that. I've even gone so far as to create different versions of my resume that are specific to, at one point I was looking at getting into regulatory affairs because I did an internship on that in grad school, and getting into data analytics. And those are very different types of positions, and so I needed to cater my resume to each of them. So if you're new in your career, this is great advice for you to help you kind of figure out what you want to do and how you're going to adjust that resume to reflect those changes. Next is going to be quantifying your achievement. By that, I mean quantity, which is numbers. So when you're doing that, you want to be specific. So if you're a claims processor, I process an average of 10,000 claims per month, okay? That might be super high, but you want to quantify that. Or when I'm talking about the grants that I was able to fund, I was able to secure $1.2 million in grant funding for my assisted living facility. I want to put a number to those things. The more numbers you have, it makes it a lot easier for the reader, for the hiring manager, for the HR person to look at it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, like 10,000, that's a lot. Or $1.2 million, wow, that's great for a small business. You know, those types of things, it clicks in their mind, and they're able to then see what that quantity is and kind of help you through that process. Next is going to be relevant certifications. So if you are in a healthcare position and you're looking for a CNA type of a job, you want to put that I'm a certified nurse's assistant. You want to put that CNA on your resume. If you are wanting to be a social worker and you have your licensed clinical social worker, you want to put then that LCSW as opposed to just the clinical social worker at a master's level, a CSW or an MSW. You want to kind of put that information out there because it's going to allow the person to see they went through the certification and the education process to obtain this certification or license that is relevant to this position, and it's going to make you a little more attractive in their mind in the type of services that you're going to be able to offer them once you get hired and how you're a good fit for the company. And then next is your tailoring your cover letter. We talked about this a little bit when we talked about your objective and summary statement. Your cover letter is different, and this is why I use my just a cover letter at this point. I feel like your cover letter and your objective and summary statement, there's going to be a lot of crossover there. But what you really want to do is customize that cover letter to express why you're a good fit and why you're passionate about that position. I like to have like kind of a set intro and a set outro on my cover letter, and then that 1 to 3 paragraphs in the middle is going to be much more specific to this job and why you're a good fit and the experiences that you have and why you should be considered for this position, why you're passionate about making that change, or why you're passionate about the job or the organization or whatever it is. You want to express that in your cover letter. That's what it's there for. You don't want it to be longer than a page, but you do want to be clear and concise and put it on there and make sure that people are able to see that and get a feel for the type of candidate that you are. So to recap everything we've been talking about here in the video, we've talked about the importance, or really how and why you should be updating your resume for a specific job. We talked a lot about why you want to do that using the analogy of a basketball team and a coach. And then I gave you 7 or 8 reasons of how, or 7 or 8 ways for how you can actually update your resume and make yourself a better candidate and kind of help you through the process to get that job. Excited to kind of see where this goes for you. If you found this helpful, make sure you like the video. Comment down below if you have other strategies for how to update your resume. Like and subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell so you get notified every time we go live on one of these coaching sessions as well, so I can interact with you a little bit more. And get over to the website, brandongustafson.com/5P as in Paul, to get access to the 5 P's to effective personal development. You also get on an email list where I send out a weekly tips and tricks kind of a thing to you to help you on your personal development journey. And remember, here at brandongustafson.com, we are here to help you transform your life your way. Thanks for watching and have a great day.